Prince Harry fled to California promising financial independence. He spoke about building a sustainable life, about supporting his family through his own work, about never needing the royal purse again. The Netflix deals and book advances were supposed to fund that dream. The Montecito mansion, the private security, the lifestyle that mirrors royalty without the duty. But according to sources close to Harry's legal team, that financial independence is crumbling under the weight of court cases that have consumed millions in legal fees with no end in sight. And now Harry has returned to the UK, not for family reconciliation, but for another court appearance that insiders claim could be the legal battle that finally bankrupts the Sussexes completely. Want to know what palace sources are saying about Harry's financial crisis? Insiders claim the multiple lawsuits Harry has pursued against British tabloids have cost far more than anyone publicly acknowledges. That legal fees have allegedly drained the Netflix and book money faster than new income arrives. That Meghan is reportedly furious about resources being spent on battles she never wanted Harry to fight. And that the upcoming court case represents a tipping point where Harry must choose between continuing his legal crusade or preserving what remains of his financial security. This is not about winning justice. According to those familiar with the situation, this is about a prince who cannot stop fighting battles even when the cost threatens to destroy everything he claims to be protecting. To understand how Harry reached this financial crisis, you need to go back to his early legal strategy after leaving royal life. Long before the multiple lawsuits, long before the mounting legal bills, Harry made a decision that would shape his entire post-royal existence. He would fight the tabloids in court. Every story he disputed, every privacy invasion he identified, every alleged phone hacking incident from years past. But here's what most people don't know. According to sources familiar with Harry's legal approach, he was advised early on that pursuing multiple simultaneous lawsuits would be financially catastrophic, that legal fees in high-profile cases against well-funded media organizations could easily run into millions, that even victories often result in legal costs that exceed any damages awarded, and that the smart strategy would be choosing one or two strategic cases rather than waging war on multiple fronts. Word from people close to Harry's decision-making suggests he rejected that advice. He allegedly wanted comprehensive legal action that would punish every media outlet he felt had wronged him. He reportedly viewed the lawsuits not as practical legal strategy, but as moral crusade where cost was irrelevant compared to justice. And according to insiders, he convinced himself that the royal family's mistreatment of him justified spending whatever was necessary to hold the tabloids accountable. Sources claim Harry believed the Netflix money and book advances created a financial cushion large enough to absorb legal costs. That he allegedly calculated he could fight these battles while maintaining his California lifestyle without significant sacrifice. But people familiar with the actual numbers suggest Harry fundamentally miscalculated both the costs and the timeline. That legal battles he thought would resolve quickly have dragged on for years. That fees he expected to be manageable have allegedly multiplied beyond anything his income can sustain. And that the financial pressure has created exactly the vulnerability Harry sought to escape by leaving royal life. He thought independence meant freedom. Instead, according to insiders, he has allegedly trapped himself in a financial crisis entirely of his own making. This is where the story shifts from legal strategy to financial catastrophe. So when did Harry allegedly realise his lawsuits were bankrupting him? According to sources close to the Sussex financial situation, the recognition came gradually as legal bills accumulated faster than new income materialised. Want to know what those bills reportedly total? Insiders familiar with the legal costs claim Harry has spent millions on lawyers, expert witnesses, court fees and related expenses across multiple simultaneous cases. And unlike the royal family, which has institutional legal resources and unlimited funds, Harry allegedly pays every expense personally from rapidly depleting reserves. People close to the situation describe a prince who committed to legal battles without fully understanding their financial implications, who signed retainer agreements without calculating long-term costs, who allegedly approved legal strategies that his attorneys warned would be extraordinarily expensive. And here's what makes it personal rather than just financial. Sources suggest Meghan has been reportedly furious about the money being spent on Harry's legal crusade, that she allegedly views these lawsuits as Harry's obsession rather than their shared priority, that she has apparently argued the money spent fighting tabloids could have funded their lifestyle, secured their children's future, built the business empire they promised investors. According to insiders, the legal costs have created tension in the marriage that goes beyond money into questions about Harry's judgment and priorities. Word from those close to the couple claims Meghan allegedly sees Harry's inability to let go of these battles as the same weakness that made him unable to let go of his royal identity, that he is allegedly spending their financial security to fight wars about his past while ignoring their future. And that realization, sources suggest, has made Meghan question whether Harry will ever truly move forward or remain forever trapped fighting yesterday's enemies regardless of today's cost. As news of Harry's financial crisis spread through royal circles, reactions revealed long-held beliefs about his post-royal viability. How did the palace respond when they learned Harry's lawsuits were bankrupting him? Inside Buckingham Palace, sources say there is quiet vindication mixed with concern. Senior advisors allegedly predicted this exact scenario when Harry left. They reportedly warned that without institutional support, legal battles would consume any independent income Harry could generate. And according to palace insiders, they tried to explain that the royal family's legal resources exist specifically because individual royals cannot afford to fight media battles alone. Now that Harry is allegedly drowning in legal debt, sources claim palace staff feel their warnings are being validated exactly as they predicted. But not everyone in the family takes satisfaction from Harry's financial struggles. King Charles reportedly remains conflicted. Word from those close to the monarch suggests Charles has privately offered to help with legal costs if Harry would agree to strategic rather than comprehensive litigation. But according to insiders, Harry has allegedly refused any assistance that comes with conditions about which cases to pursue. He reportedly views palace help as an attempt to control his legal strategy rather than genuine support. Meanwhile, Prince William's position is allegedly more straightforward. Sources close to the Prince of Wales suggest William believes Harry's financial crisis is self-inflicted and therefore should be self-resolved. That offering palace help would simply enable Harry to continue making poor decisions without facing consequences. According to insiders, William allegedly argues that Harry chose independence and must live with what independence actually costs. And in California, word from sources suggests Harry is increasingly isolated in his legal obsession. That friends who once supported his fight against tabloids are reportedly telling him to settle, to cut losses, to preserve his remaining resources rather than chasing vindication that may never come. But people familiar with Harry's state of mind claim he cannot stop, that the lawsuits have become his identity, that admitting financial defeat means admitting the palace was right and he was wrong, and that possibility apparently terrifies him more than bankruptcy. But here's what most people don't know. What other financial pressures are compounding Harry's legal crisis? The whispers paint a picture of mounting obligations that legal fees have made unsustainable. The first pressure involves the Montecito mortgage. According to sources familiar with California real estate, the Sussex mansion requires enormous monthly payments that Harry's current income allegedly struggles to cover. Insiders claim that when legal fees take priority, other expenses get deferred, and mortgage lenders, sources suggest, do not care about royal titles when payments are late. The second pressure is more immediate. Multiple sources claim Harry's security costs run into hundreds of thousands annually. The private protection he demands, the armoured vehicles, the advanced security for any public appearance. According to people familiar with the expenses, these costs never stop regardless of income. And when legal bills drain reserves, insiders suggest security budgets get cut, which creates the exact vulnerability Harry sued the British government to prevent. The third pressure involves contractual obligations. Word from entertainment industry sources suggests Harry and Meghan signed deals with Netflix and publishers that require delivering content. But according to insiders, Harry has allegedly been so consumed with legal battles that he has fallen behind on production commitments. And entertainment companies, sources claim, are growing impatient with lack of deliverables from clients who took huge advances and promised content that has not materialized. And the fourth pressure is what allegedly keeps Harry awake at night. Sources suggest that if he loses any of his major court cases, he could be ordered to pay the defendant's legal costs. And those costs, according to people familiar with media litigation, could run into millions that Harry allegedly does not have. This creates a terrifying spiral where fighting to avoid bankruptcy could result in court-ordered payments that guarantee it. Harry committed to battles he cannot afford to lose. But according to insiders, he also cannot afford to win if winning means years more of legal fees that consume every dollar he earns. To understand how Harry was encouraged into this legal quagmire, you need to understand the advisors who shaped his strategy. So who convinced Harry that comprehensive litigation was viable? The first figure, according to sources, was a legal advisor who allegedly saw Harry as a client willing to spend unlimited money fighting battles most people would settle. Insiders familiar with legal industry dynamics claim certain attorneys recognize when clients are motivated by emotion rather than financial calculation, and those attorneys allegedly structure cases to maximize billable hours rather than minimize client costs. People close to Harry's legal team suggest he was allegedly given optimistic projections about case timelines and costs, that he was told victories would come quickly and damages would offset fees. And according to sources, reality has proven every projection wrong. The cases drag on, the costs multiply. The damages, when awarded, allegedly cover a fraction of what Harry has spent pursuing them. The second architect was allegedly someone in Harry's circle who encouraged his victim narrative. According to insiders, this person reportedly reinforced Harry's belief that he was uniquely wronged by media, that fighting back was moral imperative, that spending money on justice was noble regardless of financial consequences. Sources claim this advisor allegedly fed Harry's resentment rather than helping him move forward. And the third enabling figure was Meghan herself, at least initially. Word from people familiar with early Sussex legal strategy suggests Meghan allegedly supported Harry's lawsuits when they first left royal life, that she viewed them as establishing boundaries and holding media accountable. But according to insiders, Meghan allegedly assumed the cases would resolve quickly with favourable settlements. She reportedly did not anticipate years of litigation consuming their financial security. And now sources claim she regrets enabling legal crusade that has allegedly brought them to the edge of bankruptcy. What makes Harry's legal situation truly dangerous is not just the current costs, but what opposing counsel knows about his finances. Want to know what evidence the tabloids have compiled about Sussex financial vulnerability? According to sources familiar with media defence strategies, opposing lawyers have reportedly investigated Harry's income sources, contractual obligations and spending patterns. And that investigation allegedly revealed exactly what Harry hoped to hide, that his financial position is far weaker than his public lifestyle suggests. Word from legal insiders claims this knowledge gives tabloid lawyers enormous leverage. They allegedly know Harry cannot afford to lose, cannot afford years more of litigation, cannot afford the defendant's costs if he loses, and according to sources, they are using that knowledge to force Harry into impossible choices, settle for minimal damages that do not justify the millions he has spent, or continue fighting and risk financial collapse. People familiar with the legal dynamics suggest Harry is trapped by his own crusade. He committed publicly to fighting tabloids regardless of cost. But privately, according to insiders, he allegedly knows he cannot afford to keep fighting, and admitting that publicly would mean admitting defeat after years of claiming moral high ground. Sources claim the tabloid lawyers are reportedly waiting for the moment when Harry's resources finally run dry, when he has no choice but to settle on their terms or face bankruptcy. And that moment, according to those familiar with Sussex finances, is allegedly approaching faster than anyone publicly acknowledges. The vault of evidence exists. The financial records tell the truth Harry cannot speak, and the opposing counsel holds documentation proving Harry sacrificed his financial security, fighting battles he could never afford to win. And now we reach the final truth about what Harry's legal crusade has cost. How does a prince survive when the battles he chose threaten to bankrupt everything he built? Harry stands in UK courtrooms fighting wars that sources claim are consuming his children's inheritance, his marriage's stability, and his remaining financial security. According to insiders, he is trapped in a cycle where stopping means admitting defeat and continuing means guaranteeing bankruptcy. Word from those close to the situation suggests Harry knows the mathematics are unsustainable, that legal fees exceed any realistic income projections, that the lawsuits have become financial catastrophe disguised as moral crusade. But people familiar with Harry's psychology claim he cannot stop because the battles have become his identity, that admitting he cannot afford to fight means admitting the palace was right about everything, the independence was illusion, the financial security was temporary, the legal strategy was catastrophic, and Harry, according to sources, would rather face bankruptcy than face that truth. Those familiar with Sussex finances suggest the reckoning is coming regardless. that court cases will either end with Harry broke or Harry broken, that Meghan is allegedly planning for financial reality Harry refuses to acknowledge, and that the fairy tale of independent royal life is collapsing under the weight of legal bills Harry committed to without understanding their cost. Because in the end, every crusade requires resources, and Harry's resources are allegedly running out while the battles multiply and the costs compound, and the opposing counsel waits for the moment when the prince who sued for justice finally learns that justice is not something you can afford when you are trying to live like royalty without the institution that pays for it. The court case threatens bankruptcy, the palace watches and waits, and Harry must finally face what independence really costs when you spend your freedom fighting battles that consume everything you claim to be protecting. Subscribe to our channel Palace Unfiltered for more such news. Thanks for watching.